think in my SS2, I was an art student. Of course, I talk a lot, so I was an art student. It was not even debatable. And there was a particular take-home assignment that we got where they asked us to write one drama, one prose. And I think one poetry, because the three aspects, I think they were probably just trying to figure out how good we could write. And I remember I wrote it. And my mom is a retired teacher. Focus was English and literature, right? Before she then became a principal and all of that. And my mom said, "Oh, this is really good. Like you actually write well." And my mom had said to me that when you're at school, let's try your writing. So I did the assignment. Of course, I really passed it. And then after secondary school, I was bored, so I wrote something. It was a novel, a full. I finished the whole higher education notes, writing the story. And my dad took it to, I think it was Tribune. They proofread it. They gave me feedback, and I was supposed to just work on the feedback. And I misplaced the book. And I was so sad, and I was like, I don't see myself. Oh, but I have not been able to write a full novel since then.
Welcome to another episode of DUNUM with Data. DUNUM is an abbreviation for Discover, Understand, Nurture, Utilize, and Maximize Your Potential. Well, thank you, first of all, to everyone that has watched any of the episodes and subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. A special shout out to Aidogbo Musicals, they're one of the sponsors of this podcast. Thank you so much for the support. Like, if you want to rent any of your musical instruments, speakers, mixers, what have you, I mean, Aidogbo Musicals is your go-to place. Now, if you've not subscribed to the channel, just click the subscribe button. My name is Data Akinola. Yes. And today I have another amazing, talented person here with me on the episode. And trust me, it's going to be really, really explosive. And this person, I'm going to share a bit of background story. I remember the first time I actually met, I was in the University of Ibadan, up school. And I just felt like, who is this one that is always jumping around the faculty of arts? Like, Guinness stress, baby. Why is she? But I used to say to her one day that one day, if she gets like an award, a Nobel laureate or something, that if she doesn't mention my name, then let me see what will happen. Anyways, I have Adironke Adilabu in the studio. Yes.
Hi everybody. Hi Dapo. I'm not going to call you Data. Sorry.
I was about to actually mention that I knew you were just going to mention Dapo and all. Well, people that know me, Tile and people that call me Dapo.
Hi Dapo. Hi Dapo. Hi Dapo.
All right. Anyways, it's good to have you. And I'm really excited about this episode because I just believe that your story is amazing and will inspire a lot of people, and people would actually learn from it. So let's kick off. You started as a writer, because I remember then where you used to write short stories and you would bring it to me then at the lounge at Faculty of Arts.
Nescafe Lounge.
And you tell me to proofread and all that. And I'm like, what am I proofreading? And you went from that and transitioned into marketing communications, right? And all that. Like, tell us, how did it start? And before we even talked about the transition, how did you discover that aspect of writing and writing short stories and all that?
Okay. How did I discover it? It was in secondary school, actually. I think in my SS2, I was an art student. Of course, I talk a lot, so I was an art student. It was not even debatable. And there was a particular take-home assignment that we got where they asked us to write one drama, one prose. And I think one poetry, because the three aspects, I think they were probably just trying to figure out how good we could write. And I remember I wrote it. And my mom is a retired teacher. Focus was English and literature, right? Before she then became a principal and all of that. And my mom said, "Oh, this is really good. Like you actually write well." And my mom had said to me that when you're at school, let's try your writing. So I did the assignment. Of course, I really passed it. And then after secondary school, I was bored, so I wrote something. It was a novel, if a full, I finished the whole higher education notes,
Wow.
writing the story. And my dad took it to, I think it was Tribune. They proofread it. They gave me feedback, and I was supposed to just work on the feedback. And I misplaced the book.
Aye.
And I was so sad, and I was like, I know I don't see myself. Oh, by the way, I've not been able to write a full novel since then.
Wow.
Since then, I've not been able to write a full novel. But I just knew as when I read theater arts, because I wanted to read law, but
Because of enjoying.
Man proposes, God disposes. Tori, I wanted to read law, but Lord did not want to read me.
Or JAMB disposes.
No, I passed JAMB really well. It was, the way UI usually does your WAEC plus JAMB score.
Yeah, the calculation.
And the calculation. And I think I was off my point by 2 points. But I now passed the point of law when I did post-UTME. But I did post-UTME for theater.
Oh, okay.
At the time. So I got to theater arts already. 100 level, we did everything. Then 200 level, we started to, I did writing. I did a course in writing. Then I knew that by 300 level, I was going to do writing and media. And I think that was really, really the discovery point for me. Uncle Soji, my school father at that time, I've not heard from him in a long time though. Uncle Soji was our writing teacher. And the first assignment he ever gave us was write a story using non-human characters.
Okay.
I didn't know. Like, I had not written something in a bit before then, and I just said, okay. I remember I eventually wrote the story like 2 days to the deadline, and I wrote the story of hotel room doors, talking about their experiences with cheats and people who came into the hotel room. Till today, I know a lot of people, and he found it very interesting because a lot of people were probably writing about animals, and then I chose doors. And I remember he really commented that, and that was when I knew that there was something in me that I could unlock. I just really needed to give it a shot. So that was my first experience on short story. Remember the other one were like a novel or a story. And oh, by the way, he said the whole story shouldn't be more than a page. So I started and finished the story in 1 page. And so I knew that there was that part. That was what made me realize that I had that part of me that I could unlock.
Wow.
Really, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I also know that you also went into the world of script writing.
Yeah.
That seems like how many years ago? Or do you still write scripts?
Sometimes when I'm not very busy.
By the way, she's very successful when it comes to script writing. if you watch African Magic very well, she has a lot of, series there. Yes.
Yeah.
And all that. So, okay. So from now you discover something special. You started by the way, what's the update with your blog? There was a time that you used to write short stories on your blog, and we're always waiting to read. You're always sending the link to me also. I'm always waiting to read the next story. What happened? Did you get really busy and you just forgot about the blog?
Not exactly. The blog crashed. I don't know what happened. So yes, I got busy, but that wasn't even the bigger problem. I had written so much that even though I was busy, I had stories to still engage anybody for 3 months, 6 months. Then someday I realized I couldn't access my blog. I paid a lot of money to get it back because it was not a free blog. It was a paid blog. Then they were saying something about my domain. I paid a lot of money. I got it back. 3 months down the line, it got off again. I just moved on from it because honestly speaking, I'm bigger than a blog now. As of when I started blogging, not a lot of people were into blogging. Not even my type of blogging because I wasn't doing gossip. I wasn't doing gist. I was doing real life stories. I was doing interviews with celebrities. At the time, nothing on my blog, everything on my blog had stories that were 90% original stories. I leave the 10% for maybe you get inspiration from people. And I was doing 500,000 reads, 200,000 reads. But now everybody is blogging. Everybody. So when it crashed the second time, I think I told myself that you're bigger than blogging. Move on from it. Don't hold on to it. So that's really what happened.
So how did you transfer from writing to marketing communications?
Koda.
What happened?
Koda.
Koda Nikini.
Koda new. So I think that I'm going to say, the first thing I'm going to say is be prepared for change.
Okay.
Right. Don't be scared of change. Right. My career journey is a very interesting one. And permits me to pick it up from there because it kind of links into each other.
All right.
Right. And I would also like that to maybe pass a message to somebody. Because just transitioning happened in Lagos, and there was something that took me to Lagos. There was a conference that I was invited to. The person wanted me to cover like social media for the conference. I was doing my master's at the time in UI, and I remember the person telling me that he wasn't going to pay. He was just going to pay for my transportation and for my feeding.
Okay.
And my accommodation, but he wasn't going to pay me for the job. And I took the job because I feel like when it comes to development, it's sacrificial.
Okay.
Development. So I was writing scripts at the time, I think we had just finished writing the first season of Borokini. And I was kind of less busy. And so nothing stops me from having 2-3 things. So I decided to go for that conference and do the job for free. While at that conference, I met the chairman, now just past chairman of Bariga LCDA, at the conference, and we got talking.
It wasn't a change the name, Charlie Boy Buster.
Yeah.
So, okay. Right.
Don't loud it.
So let's continue.
That's my daddy. Yes, you people, there's nothing people can do about it. Just change it, not me. So I met him, we got talking, and then it was like, oh, so I asked him a couple of questions, and I think he found the questions rather interesting. So he asked to engage me after, and he showed me a video, and he was like, oh, how would you rate this video? I said 70%. He said, can you make it 100? I said, yes. Let me not lie. When I use confidence to say that yes, even me, I did not know, because I'd never shot a video before. But what? As a test man, boy, the show must go on. Kilonje, you cannot do it. I said yes. So he was like, okay, take my card and let's talk. I misplaced this card because I knew that when I said yes, I could not do jack. I did not reach out to him. Somehow I got to know, I reached out to him again. Well, he reached out, and then I promised to come to Lagos. Now, another thing, whenever you're going to have a conversation with somebody that is higher than you must, that's one thing my dad taught me. Even if the person is not older than you must always think of what value can I bring into this conversation. Mm-hmm. So I started to read up about him. I started to read up about Bariga because I just wanted to leave with a mark. And I do it till today. If you meet me, you must remember me for something, and it has to be exceptional. So I got there, and I just gave him ideas of things that I thought that maybe you could do in Bariga. And he was like, I like you, I want to employ you. And that was how I moved to Lagos. And that was how he employed me. So I did 1 year. We started off Bariga TV. I was the managing director of Bariga TV. I got to shoot videos. So I kind of moved from writing into production. Mind you, my focus in UI was media and script writing. So I used that media experience. I was doing my master's in radio production at that time too. I dropped out of the master's. So I started to do a lot of production. Then at some point, I'm like, I want more. I'm very hungry. So I wanted more desperately. And I just reached out to a friend and said, I want to change my job. He said, what can you do? I said, the only thing I know I can do is that I can write. That's the only talent that I know that I have. I have not tried doing any other thing with myself. I started to write Anwaladu when I was still in 400 level. So I didn't really know how to do any other thing. So I said, okay, I will come back to you. 2 weeks later, he comes back and says, somebody in my former company just resigned and she's a writer. I did not know what kind of writing. I said, I can't do it. That's how I found myself in a PR agency called. I was lost because I'm used to writing fiction. Why are you telling me to write about how a phone got into the market? I don't know this thing, So I started to do PR writing. It was very tough. First of all, transitioning from fiction to corporate writing. It was one of the toughest things I had to experience in my career journey. So thankfully I had a boss. His name is Emmanuel Essien. I'm forever grateful to him. I will not say this in your front, Sha, in case you get to watch this thing. So he told me one day that you're a fantastic writer, but there's so much more that you have not explored in your talent, and you need to. So he moved from me just writing. So when he saw that I'd become a better writer in that space, he asked me to start joining strategy session. And I fought him. I'm like, people don't join me when I'm doing strategy for my writing. Why do I have to do strategy for them? And he said, I don't owe you an explanation. I'm your boss and you're going to join the strategy session. I get you for mind. So I started to join strategy sessions. I started to do documents. I started to realize that this PR is sweet too. PR is sweet too. So, but weirdly so, when I left that company, I went to become a writer somewhere else. I still didn't do PR. But somehow he opened my mind to the fact that I can do PR.
Can do PR, yeah.
You know, so I didn't know how, but I started to try my hands on it. So I moved to Scupa as a writer.
Okay.
Then I remember IRASA started at that time too. And I joined the marketing team for IRASA. So I started to explore more things, handling their social media, thinking of just content for their social media and all of that. So my transitioning were in bits. That's what I'm trying to explain. They were in bits, but I was open to all of the learnings, even some that I battle with sometimes, but at the end of the day, I was open to them. Then I remember when I moved to Infinix. No, before I moved to Infinix, when I was still at Scupa, I said, I really want to do this PR thing. I had a best friend then, interestingly, now my boyfriend, who was also doing marketing, communications, and PR. And he used to sometimes talk to me about it. And I'm like, okay, this is a really nice field. So I took on 3 jobs that were paying me ridiculous money because I wanted to learn PR and marketing. I call it the sacrificial stage. And I think for anybody who wants to transition, you have to have that stage of sacrifice. So I was running 3 jobs, one at Hissy Health Initiative. I love that company so much, by the way. It's an NGO. I was like a consultant, corporate communications consultant. The other at a real estate company, First Fountain Homes. It was a sister company to Rollard. I think Rollard is quite popular here. It's a sister company to Rollard. I was also the corporate communications person there. You know, so I started to juggle those jobs just to be able to get involved in PR more. Then I moved to Infinix. I had to stop all those jobs. I was also a writer at Infinix.
So there was an element of writing in all these things.
The writing no greed leave me. I even like tire. I was leading writers at X Club.
Okay.
Infinix X Club. But at that time, I just knew that I wanted to do more. So I started to pally up with their marketing comms team, with their marketing team. So they want to go for an activation, I'll be there. They want to go for this thing, I'm there. I was everywhere. And when I finally left Infinix, I did my first PR job in an agency. Somehow, I did not know until I got the job that it's one of the biggest creative agencies in the world. It's Ogilvy.
Okay.
And I got my first PR. I remember when the person was going to interview me, she said, from your CV, you cannot do PR. Maybe you can do account management, but you cannot do PR. And I told the HR then that, who says an account manager can be a PR personnel? And she's like, you're sounding like you know it. I said, because I know it. And she said, oh, you think you know it? I said, yes. Messi, I know that I'll send you this link. HR. And she said, I'm going to do an interview for you on the spot. And she did an interview for me on the spot. And when she was done, she was like, okay, now I'm confused. I don't know if I should give you account management or I should give you PR, but I'll get back to you. When I was going to finish my interview process and I was going to get my job offer, the job role was senior executive, PR, and client service. And I called her. She said, I can't let go. You have to do the 2.
Wow.
So I got what she thought I could do and what I thought I could do. So my very first, so that was when the final transitioning happened. It was at Ogilvy. I had my first job full-time job experience in PR. And Otumba Sheni Aditu is the group CEO of Ogilvy. Ogilvy is an amazing place. I worked on big accounts. I worked on all of Freestand Campaigner accounts, Peak Milk, 3 Crowns. I worked on AXA, where is where I'm currently working now. I worked on P&G. I worked on Telemundo.
Wow.
So I worked on really big accounts in Ogilvy. So again, my transitioning process, and that's why I said I had to take it up from start, because it wasn't that I just slept and woke up, but it was consistency. I was intentional, because I got another job offer that was paying me more than Ogilvy was going to pay me at the time, but it was not going to give me a PR role. So I didn't take it.
So you wanted that PR
I wanted
job.
it. I wanted it so much. And what eventually made me say I was going to do that was, there is writing in PR. So one day I asked myself that, in the next 10 years, what do you want to be? And so I said, I want to be maybe the global marketing, global communications lead for a Google. So the next question is, how do you get there? So I started to read up. If you're going to be the communications lead of any company, you have to do marketing, because communications is under marketing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that is it. So even though at first I wanted to do communications, I didn't know how to get there. The door started to open up. It began to make a lot of sense to me. So I still write.
Okay.
Right now at AXA, I do the press releases. So I have not stopped writing.
There's an element of, this is what I know how to do, and this is what I want to do. And there is this linking. There's a way it links. But most people don't see how it links. And that is why they give up. So, for example, you're talking about, I think I'm a typical example. Studied engineering, and I'm now a broadcaster. How it linked, maybe because, I said I went for a voiceover course. I still posted on my status today that this course practically changed my life, because going for the course at the Voiceover Academy really taught me how to use my voice, and I just switched into that. But funnily enough, I still use. So, for example, there's some programs I used to do, but I did it well because of my foundation in engineering. I had the science background and all that, so I could present a business I could present programs that has to do with energy, because I also worked with Ikeja Electric at a point in time.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's okay. Let's leave it at that. Don't. So there's always something that you take from the level you are.
Yeah.
It might not be everything, but you take something to the next level, to the next level, to the next level, and all that. And okay, aside from that, you may also mention something about the sacrificial stage. And I was like, yeah, God bless you.
Amen. Oh God, you heard.
So, my first job in broadcasting.
Yeah.
People don't believe it. I was working 6 days a week. I was reading the 6 a.m. news. I'll wake up 5:30, go to work, and I won't leave the place until 7-8. Guess my salary then.
You Kukuma told me, but tell them.
So I was getting 30,000 naira per month.
It was very annoying though.
6 days.
Okay.
6 days a week. It was annoying. But now we thank God.
My friend is going to spoil me. He has money now.
I never said that. That should be off record. But people don't, especially when it comes to Gen Zs, they don't understand the sacrificial
stage,
sacrificial stage. And they feel like, you're taking advantage of me. I practically left Ikeja Electric. Then I spent a whole year doing intern at record labels at this place, because I knew that I couldn't go back. I didn't even have the money to go back to school. So the best way for me was to intern and learn this thing before I transition into whatever I wanted to transition in. So I really want you to speak about that. How do you know that, this is because the other side to it is that some people have been sacrificing for a very long time, and they don't still have that confidence to say that, this is my worth. I need to get out of this stage and push for more. Like during the interview, you actually pushed for more. You understand? I know that, look, I've done my bit. Even though it felt, the confidence wasn't 100%, you're like, can I do this? But you still push for it. So how do you know okay, when this is the sacrificial stage and this is the time to leave the sacrificial stage and say, look, this is my worth?
So honestly speaking, sometimes I feel like negotiation should be taught differently.
Okay.
And it has everything to do with self-confidence, self-esteem, I will not mention the name of this person, but I'm sure that if this person watches this, and he will know that it's him that I'm talking to. There was a time that I was writing film reviews for a particular blog. And at that time, because I had not, I'd missed writing film reviews for my blog. I just wanted to do something, and I was still kind of growing in my career. I was collecting a certain amount of money. 1 year down the line, I needed more money too at that time. 1 year down the line, I'm like, no, your work is making numbers on this person's page. So it is time for you to hop up your game. And I remember that I had asked this person for more money, and then his response to me was that, why would you ask me to pay you this? I can get somebody to write it. And I told him there and then, you're going to get somebody to write it because I'm not going to work for you anymore. You need to understand that you get to a point that they are not paying you for your talent. They are paying you for your experience. Because nobody can actually pay your talent. So I can write. You might get a university graduate that you think writes better than me, but that person doesn't have 7 years work experience. So I am sorry. I have moved from you just paying me for what I can do. You are paying me for the lessons I have learned before you got to enjoy this version of me. But honestly speaking, when negotiation, it's a very tricky topic because negotiation is, again, they need to teach it on its own. But maybe if I'm going to help a bit to answer your question, you need to get to a point where you should know that I have learned this thing. Nobody will tell you when you've learned something. My strategy or my reason, or what do I call it, for leaving a job, when I'm working on in a company, and for example, when I do 1 year, I do a self-appraisal. What have I learned in the last 1 year? What value have I given this company in the last 1 year? What is my goal for the next 1 or 2 years? If my goal of what I want to be in the next 2 years, it doesn't look like this company is likely going to give me, it's time to change my job. So, and when I'm changing my job, of course, it's a bigger salary. So if you want to know when to leave the sacrificial stage, the first question you ask yourself is, if I am to do this job, how easy is it for me now? How much feedback are they giving me now? How better have I become? Sometimes you need to leave that place you're making the sacrifice to go somewhere else, because sometimes they will always see you as that person that they employed when he or she knew nothing. It's not their fault. And it doesn't make them bad people. There are some companies that also value growth. But trust me, even for the companies that value growth, I work in an amazing company. AXA is the first place in my entire life that I have worked that you see a creative person who has spent 10 years in the company. And I am not kidding you. So you would know that this person feels fulfilled. This person feels satisfied. This person is seeing growth. Creative people, you don't stay 1 year, 2 years in a place. So there are companies that encourage that kind of thing. But you also need to know when to push for a promotion if it's not going to come. Sometimes promotions do not come to you because you are doing well. Sometimes you need to let your boss see that I deserve a promotion now. So you need to always reflect. Every 6 months, I reflect. Beginning of the year, I set out goals that I want to achieve in every area of my life. Career, personal, spiritual. I sent to my mentor, Pastor Dami Olabi. I sent to Pastor Dami. He's also in the marketing communications field. Pastor Dami looks through my goals, rework it. You see that goal. By the end of the quarter, we are reviewing my goal. By month 6, we are reviewing my goal. So by the end of the year, if I have filled 80% of my goal, it's time to move on to the next step. The next step might not mean another company. It might not mean another job. It means that you have passed this hurdle. You're stepping on to the next thing. So that's a way to know when it's time to live sacrificial goals. The problem with most people is they live their lives on, what's the word now? on freeway.
Mm.
You don't even know what you're working towards.
Let's vibe along.
Yeah,
Let's see how it
thank
goes.
you. That's the word. They live their lives on vibes. You don't get successful on vibes. Because when you're not tracking your successes and your failures, you'd realize that you don't even know how well you have done. Even recently, I had a personal experience of not tracking it. When I got to AXA, it was a new role. Of course, I needed to go more capacity. And I struggled because I struggled though. I will be crying every night, but I'm good now. I'm coming from a company where I collected Group CEO's Award of Excellence. I collected Staff of the Year. And I'm coming to a company where it looks like I don't know jack about what I'm doing. But thanks to my boss, Sheson, I never tell you, but now mind you be, I will still tell you that you are not a good person. But honestly, I had the most amazing bosses in AXA. And I remember my boss said to me one day that you're worrying yourself. You have capability, you're growing capacity. And capacity comes with every new role. And what made me admit I was doing well, one day I went through my target letter with him and I realized that I had actually achieved 70% of my targets. I didn't know that because I wasn't tracking it. I was worrying about the things that I wasn't doing well. And I didn't even realize that I had done a lot of amazing things well. And it can flip the other way. You can think you are doing well and you are actually not doing anything.
Well.
So people need to move from living their lives on vibe to intentionally tracking their progress, their successes, their flaws. That's the only time you would know when to leave a face.
Just to buttress what you're saying. So there's this story in the Bible I came across. I know the story before. The story of Jacob and Laban, and how Jacob, I took my time to study it to the point whereby, so Jacob wanted to leave Laban, and the first time he went to meet Laban, he said, "Just give me my wife and my children." He worked 14 years, maybe extra, I don't know, but he worked 14 years, and all he could ask for was his wife and his children. Until Laban said that, no, it is because of you that God is blessing me. Then there was a renegotiation. It was after that period that Jacob now amassed his wealth. And it just speaks to me in a way that sometimes you're working for an employer of labor that they would continuously, most of them, especially Nigerian employees, I've worked with a lot of them, but they continually make you feel like, look, the way you entered is the way you are still, but not knowing that, now I'm going spiritual in a way now, that it is even because of you, your hard work, that God is actually blessing them. And there is a point whereby you're like, look, let me just leave. We're talking about a sacrificial stage. But for Jacob's case, he had to renegotiate and all that. And if there is one skill I'm praying that everybody should learn, is how to renegotiate. Know when to renegotiate. Know when to get something out of the deal, no matter how little it is and all. Now, the question I want to ask is, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? Because some people have gotten gigs, they've gotten jobs, they've gotten a lot of deals that they feel like is beyond them. And when they get it, they don't know how to handle it. It's like, okay, like for example, when you started working at AXA and all that, you feel like, look, I have done all these things, but this seems strange to me. I don't know how to cope. So how did you deal with it?
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to tell people is God does not come after your decision. He comes before your decision. God is the beginning. He's not in the middle. He's not supposed to be at the end. He's supposed to be with you through the journey. I think one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is they want to make decisions outside of God. And honestly, the decision of God doesn't have to make sense to you.
Okay.
You just need to understand. And I'll tell you why, and I'm going to link it back to that answer. First of all, I have noticed a pattern in my life that when I need to move on to the next level, I get a promotion in church. I get more work in church. It's so funny. Like, they'll probably increase my capacity in church. And a few months down the line, something will happen at my job. Either they give me more work to do, I have to change my job or something. So I always have that period of learning, of growing a bit while I'm in church. I do not joke with service to God. Because you see, the level of discipline and intentionality you can put to the work of God, when you know that nobody's going to beat you if you don't do it, you will do better when you get to where you're going to be paid or disciplined for not doing it right. So first of all, and that's the first thing. The second thing is, I knew God wanted me to be in AXA because I knew when it was not time for me to go. Not as a form of pride or anything. I declined AXA's offer 3 times. Not because I did not like the job. God had not given me the go-ahead to go. It was later that a lot of things made sense. The first time they came was the week of my dad's burial. And I remember calling Pastor Dami and he said, no. I also did not have the go-ahead in my spirit. The second time they came, and that time I kind of had a meltdown after Daddy's burial. I saw that, okay, this is why. First, I started the process like August the year before.
Okay.
How come they didn't come until after Daddy died? Because if they had come before Daddy died, I would have gone. And my performance would probably not have been excellent because it was a new role. It's not like a role that was already in my comfort zone. So we need to honestly learn to trust the process of God. The second time they came, I still got a no. It was after then that I had a tooth surgery that took me out of the office for almost 3 weeks to a month. And it was the day I removed the stitches in my tooth surgery that AXA called it all time. And that was when God said it was time to go. So, because I also knew that I was walking in the purpose of God, I knew that regardless of how hard it was, I was going to figure it out. God is not going to put me somewhere to disgrace me now. He's the one I'm representing. You will disgrace me, K. You cannot disgrace me, oh, Baba God. So first of all, right, you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you need to trust in the process of God. Because there is a level of confidence that it gives you. You know that you will figure it out. That's the first part. There's the God factor. And when it looks like it's not working, you will go back to your news. You asked me to take this job. You need to show me what to do and how to do it. And I got to that point. I went on and I said, God, you will show me what to do because you're not going to disgrace me in this job now. The second thing is surround yourself with good people. God. See, like I said, Shason called me one day. That's my line manager, by the way. He's an amazing person. Shason called me one day. It was a Saturday and it took 2 hours to talk to me to say, you're doing amazingly well. Can you do better? Yes. But I'm not expecting that better yet. You're getting into a new role. It's a promotion. You're coming from being working like an assistant manager, senior executive to become a brand manager. I don't expect it to be a walk in the park for you. You need to trust in your capabilities and begin to ask yourself, how can I grow capacity for this? That's what one of the biggest problems people with imposter syndrome is. You begin to feel like you cannot do it. No, capability is not the problem. Capacity is. And it is okay not to have capacity for something. The next thing you should start looking for is, how can I grow capacity for this thing? Right now, I'm still growing capacity. One of the key things in my job is governance. I need to oversee that people are doing things. I don't think I'm doing amazingly well in governance. And AXA runs a mentorship program. So within the system, so I was speaking to my mentor. And she was like, what is one thing you think you're struggling with? And I said, governance. And she said, why? I said, because. And what am I struggling with governance? I'd rather do the job by myself if you're wasting my time. But that's not governance. You need to get people to do the job. If you need to be harsh, be harsh. If you need to, and you need to understand who to pamper, when to pamper, who to. So she has given me some links to go and watch. I am still growing in that phase. So that's the second thing, is have the right people around that can help you. The third thing is, which is probably this should be the second, or maybe the third, is you need to figure out where the problem is. Nobody can help you. Okay, am I scared because I think I can't do it? Because when you figure out the problem, that you even be able to talk to the people that you have around, that they can then help you. Sometimes what you probably need is people reminding you of how amazing you are. Sometimes what you need is to actually fix your flaws. Because everybody has flaws. Like I said, I'm dealing with governance issue, but I am picking it up. I remember just before I started my leave, I sent an email asking people to be sending monthly reports for something. It was an offshoot of that meeting to say, so one of the things she told me is create a process, create a structure. when people know that if they don't submit this thing by this time, you're going to send them an email. You are not going to be wicked at that point because there is a clear structure. So if you don't understand what you're battling with, you cannot seek help. So if anybody is dealing with that, the first thing is, or one of the things you should do is sit down. Again, I'll go back to self-appraisal. What are my strengths? Do a SWOT analysis. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my opportunities? What are my threats? You need to also know your threat. Oh. If it's in the place of work, know the person that is a threat to your job. Your threat might not be a person. It might be a tech tool.
True.
As a writer, AI is a threat to you. So you need to be able to use AI for your good. So when you do, and you have to do this SWOT analysis, everything, even if you don't have imposter syndrome, that's the only way you can grow. Well, I have strength in this thing. How can I leverage this strength to have an edge in my company? I have this weakness. How can I work on this weakness to ensure that I am a better person? I have this opportunity. What can I do to tap into that opportunity? I have this threat. How can I turn a threat into my favor? Or how can I maneuver my way around this threat? If somebody is able to do that, they're likely, those three things that I mentioned, they're likely going to be able to get over that imposter syndrome.
You know, that reminds me of the story of why am I quoting scriptures in this episode?
Right on, Pastor. Come on.
By the way, they call her PR.
Who is that?
Pastor Runke.
PR as in public relations. You know, that's my field.
PR doing PR. All right. So it's just like when David wanted to face Goliath, and one of the things that he reminded himself of was that I killed the bear, I killed the lion.
Yes.
I mean, who is this? Even though Goliath is not a lion and a bear, but I think sometimes you have to remind yourself constantly, consistently that I've done this, I've done that. Who is this Goliath? I kill you, you die. Who are you? Pew pew. Oh shit. Anyways, you spoke about something, and I think this is going to be the last subject topic we're going to talk about, patterns, and how I believe also that if you pay attention to patterns in your life, things will be easier in a way. So, for example, it's not that I planned it. Everywhere I've worked has been a new place.
Right.
Is it that it's a new department or it's a new company, they're just starting and all that. So whenever opportunities like that come, like now I'm just like, it's going to happen. I don't even, and another thing is I think the only time I applied for a job was when I worked at the KJ Electric. And since then, I've not applied.
Come from recommendations.
You understand? It's from recommendations from this person, from that person, and all that. You get. So it is a pattern. I know that I start things.
Yeah.
That's something I know. So it's easier for me to get a job, you know,
in a startup.
You understand? Or they're just starting a new department. Oh, someone actually, when I got this last job at Crest FM, someone actually messaged me and said, "Guy," I didn't notice. It was the guy that messaged, said, "Guy, what's up with you and new places?" I said, "No." Then I thought about it. I was like, wait, even Ikeja Electric, the first place I worked, the, what's it called? The, what they call it? Undertaking they posted me to.
Yeah.
They just started. And I was one of the, even though the youngest staff in the KJ Electric then and all that. And I was like, okay, at the point it gets tiring, but I don't fight it any longer. You understand? So my question basically is how do you recognize patterns and how do you use patterns to wrong patterns too? You know, how do you use it to guide your potential or guide the opportunities that come through your potentials?
Okay, I think it's time for me to, first of all, please just give me like 20 seconds to say thank you. If my spiritual father is watching this, Professor Adebayo, God knows I love you from the depth of my heart. I had to specifically say that because he has been consistent in my life since 2013. The bad times, the time when I was angry at God, the time when I came back to God. And it takes his time to teach me. My recognition of pattern is more spiritual than reasoning. And I remember that there was one of his monthly, it does like a monthly thing where he does monthly teachings towards the end of the month. There was a time he was teaching on patterns. And like you rightly said, patterns can be good and can be bad. And one of the things that I know that he mentioned when he was teaching on patterns is that you will never recognize patterns if you are self-unaware.
Mm.
And that's one thing I was also talking about self-appraisal. A lot of people are too unaware of
Of
themselves, of their
themselves.
lives, of their destiny. Like I'm saying this with so much passion because you will never break through anything if you are living on vibes. I say it again. You will never pay attention to pattern if you don't do a self-appraisal. God will not open patterns for you in your dreams.
Mm.
God is not a magician. So you need to honestly, always, again, self-appraisal. How did I get my first job? How did I get my second job? What kind of job was it? The time I had an accident, what led to that accident?
Mhm.
The time so person died, what led to it? When this person died, what led to it? Are there similarities in what led to it? What are those similarities? There is a pattern that I've noticed that I am intentionally going to break.
Mm.
When it is time to leave a job for another job, that job becomes very uncomfortable for me.
Mm.
It's either they say, they want to. I remember the first one, I just heard rumor that they want to downsize. Next thing, HR was sending me to go and do interview somewhere. That's how I carry my bag. They did not say they wanted to take me away. So, Scooper News, there was nothing like that funny. I just got a good. When I was going to live in Phoenix too, they just came up with one story that I approved the content that I did not approve, and they wanted to advise me to leave. And I was the best performing staff. I still did not notice pattern. No. When I was going to leave Ogilvy, my boss that liked me to the point that she came for my dad's burial just switched up on me. It was then that I said, wait though.
What's happening?
At every point I had to really leave, maybe apart from Scooper, there had been a point of discomfort. And so, it's one of two things. It can be bad and it can be good. So, God, if you want me to leave a place, don't cuckoo give me discomfort. Just give me an easier way to figure it out. But it's a pattern. And you might not easily recognize patterns until it has happened twice or three times. But you need to go back and begin to self-reflect for all the good things and all the bad things that have happened to you. Now, to answer the question of how do you identify patterns? How do you then use pattern to help yourself? So, because I had kind of identified those two patterns, when the Ogilvy issue happened, I did not wait for her to frustrate me too much. First, I said, God, where is the next place to go? Right? Because when you recognize patterns, there are some patterns that you might not really be able to outgrow or come out of, right? Because if God thinks that I have coconutted and he has to find a way to get me out of a place, then definitely he needs to make that place burn me. So that might not necessarily be a bad pattern. It might just be that I have coconutted. So the question is, God, I am sorry if I am being stubborn. I want to be able to recognize your instructions earlier. That is me changing the course of the pattern. Because if I listen earlier, maybe I would not need to go through that. That's for bad pattern. So if it's also a bad pattern, you also need to know what you need to do to be able to curb it. Somebody was telling me yesterday that he noticed that for every time he fights in his dream and he wins a fight, something bad happens to him and he averts it. Maybe he's going to almost be in an accident. So when you recognize it, if it is prayer that you need to pray. If it is something you need to work on. Let me go relationship. If you consistently date people who break your heart, who are the kind of people you are attracted to? It's a pattern. And watch every single person. There is a pattern in everybody they've dated. You cannot run away from it. There is something in every single person that somebody
let me tell you mine.
Tell me.
I've always dated the only girl in the family.
Okay. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. For me,
and they are either firstborns or lastborns.
Oh, now wow.
Everybody I've dated.
He's
or had
married
a
though.
thing with in the past, like maybe almost get into a relationship with, and all
And
that.
you would somehow not have ever done it deliberately. It's not like you're out there looking for an only girl.
Thank you.
Do you understand? But it's a pattern. So if you are dating the wrong people, there is a pattern you have not paid attention to. What are the kind of guys that I like? You need to list it down. Now list that pattern that has been consistent in all of them. You know that's the next thing to avoid. So honestly, that's how to recognize them. And if it is a good pattern, you need to leverage on it.
So
I also have that thing. There is no job that I have gotten that did not come from some sort of recommendation. Every single job I have gotten, somebody has given me the link to apply and I applied for it. Not like they put their word, but I did not find the link online. Somebody sent me
somebody
the
sent
link.
it to you.
And it is a pattern. So sometimes when I want to get a new job and I have 3 offers, I'm likely going to tilt to the one that somebody gave me the link because it is a pattern. Right. So yeah, that's kind of how to use it. But the first thing is to recognize it.
Yeah. I think one of the major things you said is being self-aware. Be aware of yourself. A lot of people run away from themselves. They always want to be in a place they can't be independent. They can't look at themselves in the mirror and actually do this self-appraisal and all that. And I think that's one of the best gifts you can give yourself, doing that stuff every now and then. So while you were talking, there was something that came to my mind. Above patterns, I think the most important thing is God actually directing you and you listening to God's instruction. Because you can't always expect things to happen and be like, oh, it's a sign. Let me do this thing.
Yeah.
So for example, Jacob and Laban, and that story keeps coming to my mind. He wanted to leave. But God said, look, calm down. It's not your time to leave. Even though you don't have anything yet. I need to build wealth. I need to get wealth out of this situation that you feel like you can't get anything. And he amassed wealth. And the second part, it was God that told him himself that now it's time to go. You understand? I think above all, it is very important to understand how God speaks, when God speaks to you, and what to explore based on what God says to you. Instructions for me are very, very important at every point in time. Above everything, what God especially
But the
says
difference
to you.
is pattern is not decision.
Yeah.
God understands patterns. God knows how he will listen to you and you will hear. And he will likely speak to you in that manner. That's what pattern is. It's not the outcome of the pattern.
Okay, yeah.
A pattern is, there is a way. So God, it doesn't mean that my next job, I'm not going to say it online. I might say it online. It might not go, but there would still be a pattern of how God speaks to me because God understands that. And that's why if you remember Samuel, right, God knows that there is a pattern of him listening to
Eli.
to Eli. And he had to call him in the voice of Eli. Because
for him to recognize.
God is not trying to be difficult. He's not a mathematics teacher. He actually wants you to listen. So, which goes back to your point of you need to understand how God speaks to you. And you need to consistently be aware of it. And the other part of the imposter syndrome that I wanted to mention is have people around. I have my girls, Disha and Dami. Every year, we do appraisal. What are the things that you think I got better in the course of the year? What are the things you think I should work on? I remember if you knew me, the way I used to dress 7 years ago, I was terrible. And there is the me now that I was getting best dressed staff. Desha has said to me one day that you're very pretty, but I don't think you dress well. I think you should pay more attention to your dressing. I did not know that there was anything wrong with my dressing, honestly speaking. But
I just remembered how you used to dress in UI. So, but just continue.
Honestly. But somebody did that. So sometimes you can't even see yourself even when you self-appraise. And that's why you need to have people around, because your self-appraisal are the things that you can relate to it. What have I done well? What have I not done well? Somebody else sometimes needs to show you what you're doing well and what you are not doing well, because you might not know you're not doing it well.
Yeah.
So part of the part of appraisal, there is self-appraisal and then there is external appraisal. You just need to be mindful of who you're appraising, who you're allowing to appraise you.
Appraise
like
you,
I ask my boss, what do you think I should do better? I ask my friends, what do you think I should do better? I ask my partner, what do you think I should do better? Those are the three people who are expected to know you the most in the major areas of your life. And of course, my mentors.
So you're my friend.
Because I'm vulnerable to my mentors. So they know my weaknesses. My spiritual father, he will even see.
Wait, how many spiritual fathers do you have?
One.
Okay, because
I
you
have
mentioned
a spiritual father and I have a mentor.
Oh, okay.
Prophet Shegun is my spiritual father. Pastor Dami is my mentor. It's just coincidental that
They are
Pastor
prophets
Dami
and pastors
is
and
a
all
pastor.
that. And you said you're not going to be a PR.
God, you know what to Kukuma called me for, Jerry.
So I went to answer. I said, okay, so I'm your friend. So I praise. No, don't do it on don't do it on so that you not spoil it.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
God save you.
So finally, what's next? Father Ronke.
What's next for Ronke? Right now, it's primarily on my job, on the job part. The first part of it is I know God has not said it's time for me to leave AXA, but career-wise, I am going to make a lot of impact in AXA. That's the next phase for me. Purpose-driven phase is I am going to touch the lives of people, young people. And it has started. For the first time, I shared my rape story this year to over 1,000 people, and I know that when I was going to share the story, everybody kept asking me, are you sure? Are you sure it's time for you to share it? Are you sure you're up to it? And Prophet Shegun said to me that it's time. See, if my spiritual father say more trust it. And I mean, I trust it also because God is not a confusionist. Many times what he says, I have heard it. I just need a confirmation. Sometimes even when I don't hear it, I think I have grown with him over time to trust the voice of God through him. But two things God said to me, and I think I want to round it off there. I wanted to marry in 2020. I was Vision 2020. And in 2023, when it wasn't happening, I said, God, why? And he said to me that I was not going to entrust my generations in your hands in 2020. Because the life I had in 2020, even me, the life me that I have now, I did not pray to give birth to children that I was going to train in 2020. So I say that because what you think that is next might not be the next thing. And while I always tell people that you pray to God to make your wishes come true, you need to also respect that God needs you in certain seasons. And that's why before we started, there was a statement that I made that one of the things I tell people when I speak to them is when you're going through a season that doesn't seem the most pleasant, ask God to tell you the lesson that you want to learn in that season. And the relationship with that and my what next is that I have gone through certain tough moments. Like God said to me last year, he put this song of everything I've been through, use it for your glory. God said that you have gone through these things because your story is supposed to use to change the lives of people. And I have seen it happening. I shared my story in church. We did AXA Week for Good because AXA has a volunteering every year. Volunteering is a big deal for AXA.
Okay.
And what we treated this year was domestic and sexual violence.
Wow.
And anonymously, they nominated me to speak. They did not know I had a story. Somehow, they just said I was the one that was going to speak. And that was when it clicked. And I know that January 1st, my spiritual father said to me that you're going to start mentoring people this year. And when those two things happened, it clicked that it is time. So my next phase is actually also mentoring across board. Career, spiritual, pain, hurt. When I mean heartbreak, I'm not talking about relationship or hurt. Those three things in terms of purpose are my next phase. I want to help people come out of stuff.
So, are you going to mentor me?
I cannot mentor you.
Why?
And I'm going to say this. I'm really happy for this that you're doing.
Oh, okay.
You have always been very hungry about building talents. I remember, is it 15, 13? Is it 15, 11?
15, 16.
15, 16, yes.
Yeah, it's
There
true.
was 15, 16, and they were young people. And then there is this that you're doing. And then when you told me the full meaning, then I'm like, it's very important that people don't go away from passion and purpose. And your purpose might not necessarily be what is giving you money, but you need to always deflect back to it. Me is what is giving me money. I'm a big fan of that, but it's not for everybody. I know somebody who is an organ in coke and she's into film because that's where it is for her. So it doesn't have to always give you money, but please, in all that you do in life, don't walk away from your purpose. The word of God said, I shall not die but live to declare the glory of the Lord in the land of the living. And the Holy Spirit said, the breakdown of that is what, why, and where. What? I shall not die but live. Why? Said to declare the glory of the Lord. Where? In the land of the living. So the reason God has kept you alive is to declare His glory. And you're declaring His glory through your purpose. If you miss it, you have given room for the enemy to enter, because it means that you are not fulfilling why God has kept you. So why should He not take you?
PR. Doing the PR.
That's it. That's the next step for me.
Wow.
I'm very, very hungry about young people being better.
There's this training you do for writers. Do you still do it?
Yes, I do it. But it's very limited.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes I'm filled because I don't do it generally.
Oh, okay.
What I mean by don't do it generally is I don't take like 10 people at a time. I take one person at a time.
Oh, okay.
Because different people are in their phases of their writing, then different stages of their writing careers. Some people, they're just starting. Some people are in the middle. So I don't do general classes. So many times I don't do more than 2 or 3 people in a month so that I can intentionally help that person through the process, and then I pick the next person.
All right.
So yes, I'm still doing it.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing time. I wish we could continue. I have like part 2 and part 3, but you know, we gotta let
Pay
you go.
me. You should tell that one to pay me.
I mean, I think I can see hold you to that. Can I see hold you to that promise?
Which one?
The Nobel laureate.
Oh,
it might not be Nobel laureate. It might be something else, but you know.
Yes, I'm definitely.
If you don't mention my name.
You've said it so many times that I can't even forget it.
Thank you so much for coming on this episode. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be blessed by this episode, and you know, I like the fact that we went all spiritual and all that.
Sorry, Doc, I need to say that thank you to you.
Okay.
You are one of the first people in my life that made me see that I was an amazing writer.
Aww.
Like you said so many things. Like even when you used to tell me that when I get my first award, I just started writing for African Magic at that time. So it wasn't like you saw anything until today, when I remember the people who saw things in me even before I picked it, you come to mind. So thank you, Dapo. And please keep doing this for other people. They need you to succeed.
Thank you. Thank you for thanking me. We'll keep on doing our best. All right, we've come to the end of this episode. I mean, I'm sure you've been blessed. I'm sure you've learned a lot of things. So make sure that you share this video. You might be blessing someone. And also remember, this DUNUM Data is now on Spotify. Yes, it's now on Spotify. So you could listen to it while you're doing other things. And if you just want to watch the expressions and all that, then you come to YouTube. We're just making it available for everyone, irrespective of whatever platform that you like. Thank you so much. Till next time that I come your way. My name is Deda Akinla. Remember to discover, understand, nurture, utilize, and maximize your potential.